Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I think in the past I have discussed, there has been two videos where I discussed how Rabbi Nachman was born, the story leading up to his birth. But since I started reading this new Siach Sarfei Kodesh that I got, it gives a little bit more history with a little bit more Seder. And we're just going to go through it quickly because it's very interesting. So without looking too much in the Sefer, I'm just going to try to remember it over. And we're going to learn a little bit about how Rabbi Nachman was born and the story of his ancestors and how he was born in the Baal Shem Tov's house, in the Baal Shem Tov's special room. So basically what happened was that one day a lady came to the Baal Shem Tov, and it says over here in the Sefer that some say that she was the sister of Rav Yitzchak of Drovitz, who was the father of Rav Michal of Zlotchev. And she said to the Baal Shem Tov that she wants to marry one of his students. He doesn't need to be rich. She was a very, very wealthy woman, and she could support him, whatever it was. She really wants to get married, but she wants to be married to somebody who was part of the Baal Shem Tov's Chevraya, one of his inner students, one of his pupils. So Rabbi Nachman Denker, who was one of the main students of the Baal Shem Tov, who was a widow at the time, the Baal Shem Tov said, okay, maybe he'll want to marry you, And that's also interesting because it does say in other Sfarim that he married a woman in Turkey, in Istanbul, when the Baal Shem Tov was there. But according to this, it says over here in a footnote that according to Rabbi Yitzchak Bender, it is not true that Rabbi Nachman Hardenker married someone in Istanbul. He married someone in Ukraine or whatever it was, right? Fine, the Baal Shem Tov makes a shidduch between Rabbi Nachman Hardenker and this woman, and they get married. And right after he gets married, Rabbi Nachman Hardenker leaves. Just leaves. He leaves. He goes somewhere on a journey. And the woman comes crying to the Baal Shem Tov. And she said, what's going on? Why, I wanted to marry somebody and have children and whatever. And now all of a sudden your student just runs away right after the chuppah. It says over here, right after the chuppah, he ran away. I don't know exactly what that means. If they, I'm saying, if he came home that night, I don't know. But I'm saying just that he ran away. So the Baal Shem Tov said to her, he said, listen, there are special times that he comes back to me, and when he comes back, I'm going to ask him. Okay? This is actually something that I just missed out before, is that after the Baal Shem Tov made the shidduch with Rabbi Nachman Hardenker, he said that when I have a daughter, or when I have a son, and you have a daughter, and you have a son, and it works out that we can make a shidduch, then we should make a shidduch between us. Right? The Baal Shem Tov already had children, Adol and whatever, but he's saying maybe if I have a granddaughter or whatever. And Rabbi Nachman Hardenker was not into it. He said that he has better yichus in him. He showed him that he had a family tree yichus going all the way back to Betzalel ben Uri from the tribe of Yehuda. And the Baal Shem Tov pulled out his ksav yichus, his letter of yichus, his family tree, shows that he goes back to Rabbi Gamliel, who was from David HaMelech, and they're all from David HaMelech, and David HaMelech was from Yehuda, so they're all the same yichus, and it's all good. But I don't know, it doesn't really say what he said, if we should make a shidduch or not. But anyway, what happened is that Rabbi Nachman Dunker and this woman got married, he ran away. The lady came to the Baal Shem Tov, she was crying. Baal Shem Tov said, don't worry, I'll figure out what's going on over here. So Rabbi Nachman, he comes back, Rabbi Nachman Hardenker, and the Baal Shem Tov says to him, no, what's pshat? You got married, you leave this woman, what's going on with you? And he said, I know from Shemayim, I know from my holy thoughts that if this woman gets pregnant and has a child, then she will have to die. Therefore, I'm not going to be living with her because I don't want her to get pregnant and die, because that's not really fair to her. So the Baal Shem Tov told her what her husband said, and she said that if he knows such holy things like this, and obviously he's a very holy person, and it's worth it to have children with him, even if it means that I'm going to die. But she davened at the time of childbirth that she should be able to at least stay alive for 1 month, so that she could raise her child at least for 1 month and get to know him. And then Rahman al-San, she was nifter. Whatever Gezerah, whatever it was, that she had to be nifter, but that's what it was. So the child that was born was Rabbi Simcha. Rabbi Simcha was Rabbi Nachman's father. So then Rabbi Nachman Hardanker was always doing shlichus for the Baal Shem Tov and different things like that. So he left the child in the Baal Shem Tov's house while he would go on journeys, and the Baal Shem Tov and Adol, the Baal Shem Tov's daughter, raised Rabbi Simcha. He was a very special child. He saw he was a big tzaddik, things like that. And Baal Shem Tov would always say to Adol, "Wow, he's such a cute kid. He's such a great kid," and he would always point at him and stuff like that. And when he got older, Adol chose this kid Simcha, whatever how old they were, this teenager, whatever it was, to be the husband of her daughter Feiga, Rabbi Nachman's mother. So it says over here, let me just see over here, right? Because she said that why would my father always be telling me these things like, oh, he's such a good kid and this and that? Like obviously it means that he wants me to marry him off to Feiga. So that's what happened. So they got married, right? So now how did Feiga get the house of the Baal Shem Tov now, right? How did Feiga and Simcha get the house of the Baal Shem Tov, that Rabbi Nachman was born in the house of the Baal Shem Tov, right? So it says over here that when the Baal Shem Tov died, he left behind his house to his son Rav Tzvi Hirsch, and it says over here in the Sfarim that Rav Tzvi Hirsch was a hidden tzaddik, and he had a lot of business to do with oxes and cows, and he would hide his avodas while doing business, but he was really he was really a hidden tzaddik, but since he had a business, he was very, very rich and very, very wealthy. He did not need the house, so he gave the house to his sister Adol, and Adol was very, very poor. So when Adol married off Feiga to Simcha, to Rabbi Simcha, the dowry, the nidunya, whatever it was that the Kala brings to the house, the gifts, whatever, I always forget what everything is, was the Baal Shem Tov's house, because Adol's brother gave it to Adol, and then Adol passed it on to the Baal Shem Tov, to Feiga and Simcha to live it as a wedding present / nidunya / whatever. So they lived in that house. They lived in the house of the Baal Shem Tov, right? It says over here, right? She gave to the zug, to this new couple, as base of Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh Lador boy, to live in it. And it says over here, and in this house, in the special cheder of the Baal Shem Tov, Sham Noila Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rabbi Nachman was born there, V'sham Yarden Nishmasa HaKadosh Lit Oilam. And everything that we just read and said, it says over here in the parentheses that Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Bender heard this in Uman from many different Chassidim, and a chelik of it he also heard from Rav Bar Nachman. Okay, so let's just see, there's a footnote here in the special room of the Baal Shem Tov. What does it say over here? It says, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Bender said, Sipur li Rabbi Ben Sion Rabbi Ben Sion Apter told me that in the last generation, our time, whatever it was, in this apartment of the Baal Shem Tov, Rabbi Naftali Herzla Nechelis Mimezhebush was living there. Right? Ubikesh Rabbi Ben Sion, Rabbi Hertz, and Rabbi Ben Sion after was there, and he asked from Rabbi Hertz, he wanted to go into the special room of the Baal Shem Tov. Rabbi Hertz, and Rabbi Hertz showed him that it's impossible to enter there because he filled up this room with a lot of wood. And the reason why he did this is because he was afraid to use and to even walk into this room, how holy it was, because Rabbi Nachman was born in this Baal Shem Tov special room. Rabbi Nachman Galinsky Zal, I don't know, I guess that's like a different parentheses, okay, that also heard that. Rabbi Hertz Hanal was actually from the Chsidei of Skver, He was a skver chassid, which is interesting. V'hoya chalban, and he was a milkman. And he actually would go many times to the tzion of Rabbeinu and Uman, which is very interesting. But anyway, point is that the room was extremely holy, and that is the room that our Rebbe Nachman, was born in. And actually, it says over here another footnote that this story, actually, Rabbi Yitzchak would say on Shvi Shel Pesach, after he would say the story of the Baal Shem Tov, on Shvi Shel Pesach, there's a minute to say the story of the Baal Shem Tov, that about his journey to Eretz Yisrael, right? Which I'm sure a lot of people know. But Rabbi Yitzchak Bender was known to say this story also on Shvi Shel Pesach. And that's also how Rabbi Nachman Dunker ended up in Eretz Yisrael. After his son got married, he moved to Tveria, as we know he's buried in Tveria. And what's it called? And that's the story. I mean, there's a bigger story about how the actual conceiving of Rabbi Nachman, with the story that Rabbi Simcha was gone. That's in a different video that maybe I will put over there. And it just says over here that just the last thing, that Rabbi Nachman obviously was born in the city of Mezhebush, and he came into the bris on Shabbos HaGadol, and that's what it is. Okay, so we're going to continue learning all about these things. Obviously, many videos. We still have, Baruch Hashem, a lot of time, a lot of stuff over here. But I just wanted to say that video, that how Rabbi Nachman was born in the Baal Shem Tov's special room. Everyone should have a great day.